With millions of Americans behind on their mortgage payments, the federal government and some banks are stepping in to help mortgage holders avoid foreclosure. We're joined by Joanne Lipman, editor-in-chief of Condé Nast Portfolio magazine. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, all this news sweeping through in the last 24 hours or so, first big bank to kind of come along and say, you know, we've got some structures that can help you if you're one of our mortgage holders. Let's talk about Citigroup first. What are they offering and who is eligible?
Okay, so Harry, what's going on here is we've got about 4 million borrowers who are either in foreclosure or close to missing payments. The banks and the government are both stepping in to try and help with some programs. So the Citi program that was announced yesterday, it's an interesting program because this is for people who are not behind on their mortgages.
Right.
These are for people who are at risk of being behind on their mortgages, who live in areas where the
price of the homes is starting to go down.
Where the price of homes are sinking, where unemployment is rising,
Yeah.
and Citi is reaching out to 500,000 borrowers to see if they qualify, and they think maybe 130,000 or so will qualify for reduced terms, to renegotiate the terms.
So
of their mortgage.
if you meet those qualifications, you need to be calling Citigroup right now in case they haven't called you already, because you want to
they're going to reach out to you.
You want to get on board.
But you want to get on board if you are at risk.
Because the fact is, it costs these banks so much more money to go through foreclosure than to just make the deal.
Such a great point. You know what? The bank does not want your house.
Right.
They don't want your house. They already have millions of people.
They estimate as much as $250,000 for every time they do that.
Right.
Fannie and Freddie have a deal too. Who's eligible for that?
Fannie and Freddie is a different circumstance. They're looking at people who are at extremely high risk. So Fannie and Freddie program looks at if you're more than 3 months behind, or at least 3 months behind on your mortgage payments.
Right.
If your loan is worth 90% or more of your house. And you're in your house, so they want you. These are people who have not declared bankruptcy, but who are missing their payments. So they also are talking about restructuring the terms so that you don't pay any more than 38% of your monthly income.
And in a word, if you're not in this group, if you're just Joe average and you're getting killed in 20 seconds or less, what can you do?
Well, what you've got to do here is let your bank know, first of all, before you miss a payment. Secondly, let your bank know you want to stay in your house. This is really key. There are people who are walking away from their homes. And if you want to stay in your house, your bank's going to want to work with you.
Yeah, let's make a deal.
That's absolutely right. And you can write what's called a hardship letter and get in touch with your bank. And, it's difficult for some of the banks, but they do want to work with you.
Joanne, thanks so much. Joanne Lipman.